No, but let's be honest, we're all toxic and it's time we acknowledge it. So first, before I start, I hesitated a long time whether or not to give concrete real-life examples to this video. Because on the one hand, if you know me, you know I'm really not about trashing real people. I can give out my unpopular opinions about TV shows all day long, but I draw the line once it's about real human beings, whether I like them or not. I just feel uncomfortable discussing people's private lives openly. But on the other hand, I really want the viewers of this video to feel like what I'm saying is grounded in reality and that I'm talking about things that actually happened. So I want to make it clear that regardless of how I feel personally about the actors I'm going to be talking about in today's video, I really don't want this video to be seen as hate or even a call out. What I'm calling out is real-life shipping and fan service. There will only be one exception when I won't say the actors' names because it involves allegation of assault. And I would never want to exploit someone's trauma to make a point. You'll probably know which drama I'm talking about, though I hate calling abuse drama. And I would really appreciate if you refrain from commenting the actors' names in the comment section. I will also only be talking about Thailand and BL actors specifically. Because while fan service and real life shipping exist outside of those, I believe that this case is truly on a whole other level. And I need to talk about it specifically. So when I joined the BL fandom in 2017 and 2018, I wasn't at all new to shipping. My first fandom had been Klein from Glee since 2015, then followed by Rob Ron from Emmerdale since 2017, with a lot of ships in between that I won't be talking about in today's video. That being said, what really surprised me when I joined this Thai and Asian dramas fandom is the fan service. Fan service that extended well outside the series it initially took place in, to not only concern the fictional characters anymore, but the real-life actors who played them. So let's talk about it. So what is shipping? Shipping is the act of liking two, sometimes more, people in a romantic or sexual context. But it's not about liking in passing. You can enjoy a ship, root for them, be happy when you see them together. But shipping goes further than that. It's a sort of self-awareness that you like this ship more than most others you've seen on screen. That you're willing to invest more time outside of the show to think about them. And shipping is entirely weaved into fandom culture. Because most shippers go on to either create content around their favorite ships, be it fanfictions, GIFs, fanvids, or at least consume it. And shipping can both happen with fictional characters and real-life people, which is obviously what I'm gonna tackle today. Because while most people are globally okay with fictional shipping, though there still can be problems with that. And for that topic, I really recommend Sarah Z's video on shipping wars. But the shipping of real people causes far more controversies and problems for the shipped people in question. And as I've already said, Thailand seems to exist almost on another plane of existence. As actors being shipped in real life, especially BL actors, are basically a requirement for success. And that leads us to fan service. So what is fan service? Literally, fan service is something that will please the fans. It originated from Japanese manga and anime culture, but is very present in many different ways in absolutely every country. For example, it could be acknowledging a popular fan theory on a show, or even giving in to certain fans' demands concerning a relationship or a character. That's in the fictional creative sense though. The fan service I'm talking about is very much different. In Thailand, fan service is basically a requirement for actors. And again, I'm primarily talking about BL, because while there are popular straight ships in Thailand, their power is nowhere near the power of the BL ships. And the fan service is also much tamer, because they can't have women do as much sexual stuff as their male counterparts. Which comes from the country's conservatism and misogyny, but anyways, that's not the topic of today's video. So in Thailand, fan service consists of actions or words that lead the fan of two actors to believe that they might really be together. There are a lot of factors that go into it. Firstly, the fact that every single one of these ships come from a BL series, where the two actors play the fictional ship in the first place. So two actors that haven't played in a series together might get a few shippers, but I've yet to see two random actors become a truly popular ship. And since the actors have already kissed and played out a love story on screen, it's not that hard for their fans to imagine them together in real life. After all, they've been casted because they look good together and they've got chemistry. So I'm not saying I don't see where the fans come from. That being said, that initial shipping is completely multiplied by the fan service the actors have to do. So firstly, they have to pretend to be close friends, even when they've known each other for sometimes less than a year. But that's not quite fan service yet. When they have fan meets, they have to play games with skinship and even sometimes kissing opportunities or sexual innuendos. And fan meets are in themselves a completely Asian concept as far as I know. While in the West, fans will be able to meet their favorite star in meet and greets, fan meets are not really about that. It's a show with actors where they are most definitely gonna sing because, as I said in my video of rating Thai actors singing, this is a definite requirement for every Thai actor. But yeah, they're gonna sing, they're gonna play games. And when it's a fan meet for a series or a popular BL ship, you can bet your ass most of it is gonna be fan service. Fan service can be holding hands, touching the other's hair, or even just flirting with cheesy pickup lines in front of the fans. It's anything with a slight romantic or sexual connotation that is done just because the fans are there, to please them. And because there's a lot of things that make the fans happy, the line drawn between what is fan service and what is not is really blurry and varies almost from person to person. For example, and I'll probably use Afghan as an example in this video very often, as they're the only real life ship you could say I ship. Though I don't believe they're together, I just like their friendship and closeness. But since they're kinda the only real life ship I follow closely, they'll probably be my example multiple times today. The sun left me alone. There's a lot of instances of Afghan holding hands in private. There's this clip with Tae where they're just walking down the street and one of their managers decided to film it and post it. And there's also a clip of them holding hands while crossing the road that has been captured by a random person driving by. This is clearly not fan service, as those moments were not meant to be seen by fans or anyone else for that matter. The only reason why they became Afghan moments is because they got leaked. So they're accidental fan service at best. But there are other instances of Afghan holding hands, especially at the beginning of their ship, when Af truly was a different person and hated holding hands. This clip illustrates fan service and its you have to do it nature perfectly. You can see that Af doesn't want to hold hands, but still forces himself to do it to please the fans, as Gunn tells him that the viewer count has augmented. This for me perfectly illustrates the fact that fan service is a requirement, once again, whether or not you're comfortable with it. So we know what fan service is. But why does it even exist in this particular context? And you've probably already guessed it. It profits everyone involved. Before we can talk about genuine, concerning ways in which fan service and real-life shipping culture can affect the actors' lives, let's start with the reasons that incentivize everyone involved to partake in fan service. Fan service profits companies. Here I am both talking about companies that have actors signed to them all year round, like GMMTV, Studio Wabi Sabi, Nadal Bangkok, and many others, as well as companies that hire an actor for only one particular project. In both scenarios, the company will greatly profit off of the actor's popularity and especially his ship. Firstly, if a real-life ship is popular at the release of their first series together, it will obviously make the series more popular as well, meaning more money. In companies with signed actors, it also goes for other following projects, whether it's as a ship or individuals. Though a lot of toxic fans tend to be really upset when one half of their favorite ship is playing with a new co-star or simply in a project without their quote-unquote soulmates. If a ship does a lot of fan service in fan meets, it also means more money for the company as well. The more the ship is popular, and again that happens through fan service, the more the company can use this ship's popularity in ads, other fan meets, brand events, to create photo books and other merch items, songs, and basically anything under the freaking sun. Anything that can make money with the ship attached to it, they're in. And all of these monetary opportunities can be used at any moment once the ship is popular enough. For example, Soto still having a reunion fan meet in 2020, despite having aired in 2016, and Crescento being high-key a dead ship by now. No shade. Or even these plush dolls released this year, with again Crescento and also Tenyu, who are probably never gonna act as a ship again. And you see me talk about GMMTV a lot already in this video, because I do believe they're the king of marketing out of all the Thai entertainment companies. But even a company like Nadao Bangkok, that seems more reputable, will not hesitate to push its leading BL ship Birkin and Pippi in situations where fan service is needed. Cue Fantopia, for example. It might be way less extreme than other companies, but I just want to point out that where there is a BL ship, there will be fan service. And no matter the reputation of the company behind them, they will definitely profit from it too. Fan service profits actors. So even though the actors are the ones doing the fan service and could easily be seen as victims of the system, which they can often be, they're also willingly participating in it and greatly profiting from it. That's why there's been this whole gay for pay discussion in the BL fandom for ages. Because there are notoriously homophobic actors who have gotten their big break from BL, before not only distancing themselves from it, but also kind of spitting on the hand that fed them. And there's no doubt that a lot of upcoming BL actors, seeing how BL keeps getting increasingly more popular, will star in a BL series despite not caring whatsoever about representing an LGBTQ+ story, or even going as far as being secretly homophobic. But anyways, I could do a full video on that alone, so let's go back to the fan service. Firstly, the actors are greatly encouraged to do fan service by the company they work with and their fans. I'm sure they're aware that starring in a BL series will lead to more work outside of that. And I do hope that when they sign their contracts, the company explains to them exactly what they're getting into. But no matter what, the companies completely initiate and encourage that behavior. For example, BL actors' managers filming private moments between them to leak them and get hype from the fans. And the fans, of course, encourage fan service even further by always screaming every time it happens in front of them, and overall supporting them online, but also monetarily through merch, fan meets, etc. Again, for your ship to be popular, of course it helps to have a successful series that's well executed, but a lot of it outside of that is just fan service. If your fans believe you're really together, if they get invested in you more and more, you will surely get more projects. And it's no surprise to see that on social media, BL actors have far greater engagement than any non-BL male actor or even any actress that has the same number of followers. Starring in a BL and having a real-life ship will give you one of the strongest fan bases you could ever dream of. So is your privacy getting ruined, your love life being constantly gossiped about, and any person close to you who's not your ship being scrutinized? Really that big of a deal? Come on, take one for the team. Fame and fortune come with a price after all. Fanservice profits fans. And finally, the reason fanservice is effective in the first place: fans. There is nothing more powerful than having a strong fan base. Nowadays, more than ever before. And we know that Thai actors are both actors and influencers, which again I could make a full video about. And that's in big part because they're hired to sell stuff to their fans. Honestly, at this point, the fans are basically their idols' sugar daddies. So you've really liked this fictional ship in a BL series. And so you research the actors, you start watching them together outside of the series, and at some point your love for the fictional characters crosses into real life. After all, you already enjoy these two actors in their series together. They look good together, they've got chemistry. Why wouldn't you like them in real life too? When you see them do cute things, say flirty words at each other in public, of course that makes you happy. Of course that makes you believe in them even more. And the more you love them, the more money you're likely to spend on them. But there is genuine enjoyment in stanning someone. That's why so many people are fans of artists, bands, and actors. because watching content of artists you like is fulfilling. That's what fans gain from fan service. Seeing two people they're invested in, giving them the fantasy they're dreaming about. I will be honest, and it must be pretty clear, but I'm not the biggest fan of fan service. That being said, I'm absolutely not immune to it whatsoever. Most of the fan service I enjoy is again related to Afghan, because I know that behind their ship there is a true and real friendship that has formed over the years, a bond that is real even though it's not romantic love. So even though the fan service they do is still pretty exploitative to both them and their fans, I gotta admit that yes, I'm also human. And I eat that shit up. That's why I opened my video by saying that we're all toxic, because it's true. Obviously there are different levels of toxic, and that is coming right up, but I wanted to acknowledge that I'm not talking about this topic from someone who hasn't experienced it. I'm like you, I'm part of the plebes of fangirls, if you will. And while fan service is pretty exploitative, there's a reason it's used. And that's because it just works. Fan service gone too far. But while fan service and real-life shipping in Thailand profit everyone involved, their drawbacks almost exclusively touch the actors and their close ones. For fan service, there are many instances that I could talk about, because the concept in itself of fan service is fucking weird. Like there's having to take down post-it notes put all over your co-star's body with your mouth, doing weird yoga poses, being taped together, having to hug each other, carrying a ping pong ball in between your two mouths, and even sometimes kissing. For example, there's the Afghan kiss on a radio show, but for me it's far from the worst because they could have played it off without any consequences. In fact, the fans would have still ate it up. There's many instances where Off has just blown a kiss into the air towards Gun, and the fans lost their shit. An example that does feel a little more fucked up in my opinion would be the kiss shared between the Checkout co-stars in the pretty recent documentary about their series. The director clearly states that to please the fans, they should act out a kiss scene, and even gets frustrated when they play it off at first. And then when they only give each other a small peck instead of the full makeout session he was probably expecting. And the thing is, the comment section is still losing its shit about the kiss. So congrats on your stunt working out, I guess. But yeah, again, the fact that pleasing the fans is put above what the actors truly want is extremely telling of how the BL industry functions. But that was frankly child's play compared to the stunt I'm about to show you. Amidst Type's very justified, controversial climb to fame, its actors caught a lot of heat after, and listen to me carefully, come closer baby, come closer, hinting at all during a brand event. I know, fucking insane, what the fuck? Let's dissect it because frankly I have no words. So during the live they turn the lights down and bring out a curtain behind which Mew and Golf stand. They then proceed to undress each other while the fans are screaming like crazy, and then Golf goes onto his knees, his head clearly at the height to do this kind of things. But then they take the curtain out and turns out he was just doing Mew's laces. How romantic. To be fair, this situation did make them catch a lot of heat, be it by fans online, or even Thai citizens who found it incredibly vulgar and cheap. And I don't think I disagree. And I think this specifically raises a lot of interesting points around fan service. In firstly showing that it is, in a big way, the fetishization of homosexuality. These actors, in order to be successful and make their fans happy, have to pretend to be gay and do gay stuff with their co-star. And to be clear, whether or not the actor is actually LGBTQ+, is not really a part of the equation. Though let me remind you that most BL actors are required to be straight to be cast, which is a whole other can of worms on its own. But it's really the fact that I can't imagine, and I don't have to because it doesn't happen, co-stars from a straight on-screen ship doing anything close to that kind of fan service. And for me there's also an interesting talk to be had about BL being way more sexual than straight romances in Thailand because of how conservative it is and its complete unwillingness to show women as sexual beings, unless they're being sexualized by men, of course. But again, that will be for another video. You see how I'm teasing? In every one of my videos, I'm teasing other videos, you know? And hand in hand with that, fan service tends to be a lot of sexual innuendos. Though thankfully this last clip is the furthest fan service has ever gone to. but a lot of it has sexual undertones. And the fact that a great majority of the shippers are underage fans needs to be acknowledged. They literally simulated oral sex in front of literal children. But again, in most cases where it doesn't go that far, there is this atmosphere of things being able to be a lot more explicit because it's a gay ship. The gay aspect of the ships is definitely the key aspect of fan service in Thailand. Though as GL finally starts to be produced, it will be interesting to see if the fan service between two female co-stars resembles more the BL one or the straight one. Seeing Sammy and Pioneer's TikToks together, I would tend to lean towards the first one. Real life shipping gone too far. And then we have the fan side of things. In every fan base, there's toxic fans, that's a given. That being said, I do believe that fan service contributes to fans of real life ships being convinced that the actors, real life human beings, belong to them. And what they want is their ship and their ship only. A very common example that you can research for yourself would be to go in any comment section under a series where one half of a popular ship plays a romantic pairing with a new co-star. You will find dozens of comments like, "What would Redacted think if he saw this?" And "Oh my god, I miss him with Redacted." And that is not only telling of the toxic mindset a lot of fans have, as if the actors only belong to the one gay ship that got them popular, when in fact it's almost as if an actor's job is to act in many different roles with many different co-stars. Wow, crazy, I know. But it also can show clearly the downside the actors have to face once they've got the fame and money from doing fan service and being shipped with their co-star. They become only the half of the ship they represent. They're put in a box where they're not really themselves anymore. They are their ship. And let's talk about the fact that the actors can say goodbye to their intimacy. Any person they get close to will be seen as a potential love interest that can wreck their ship. And when the actors have a girlfriend, then that's even more problematic. Being the girlfriend of a BL actor must frankly be the worst thing ever. You will get attacked online on the daily, your boyfriend will also get hate for dating you instead of his co-star, and frankly, your relationship will become highly unstable. That's why Bright broke up with his girlfriend of many years after Together blew up and fans started attacking her. That's why Gould did the same thing when Tantai became popular, and you can guess it, his girlfriend got attacked. And you had the same story as well, though his took a slight turn. And that doesn't only concern the real life girlfriends these actors have, but any female co-star they can star in a show with, which just reeks of misogyny. For example, Bryce's co-star in F4 Thailand being relentlessly bullied for having a ship with him, when the show isn't even out yet. But anyways, let's go back to New. Earlier in this video, I've referred to Tae as a dead ship. And again, while I'm not trying to create drama with this video, but genuinely criticize harmful practices, I think it's important to talk about how real-life shipping and toxic fans literally made Tae and Yu, friends for years before they became a ship, explode. So Tae and Yu started working together in 2014 on 5 Live alongside Off, and they all joined GMMTV together. They played a side ship in Kiss the Series in 2016, but Yu actually got more attention for his work in Waterboy in 2017, where he had a ship with Earth. In 2018 though, Tae and Yu got a new chance to act as Pit Cow in Kiss Me Again and got immediately popular, being genuinely close friends outside of work, even being roommates for a little while. But in late 2019, after Dark Blue Kiss, yet another Pit Cow series, and probably Tae and Yu's most successful one, New and his girlfriend at the time got so many attacks on social media, and at one point New was unable to take it anymore. He was sick of fans always bringing Tae up, so he deleted some pics of him and Tae off of his social media, obviously causing a big stir in their fan base. There has most definitely been a fight between these two, as to this day their relationship is still very tense and mostly work related. So yeah, harassment from their so-called fans did end years of friendship and the ship they were trying to defend in the first place. I would call that karma. And finally, the situation where I will not mention the people's names, because it does involve not. Once again, if you do know the story, please do not say the people's name in the comment section. And before you come for me for talking about an unconfirmed incident, I just want to make it clear that there was no real consequences on the abuser from this incident. In fact, the alleged assaulter is very famous and thriving, while his victim hasn't had a notable role since the incident. No one was prosecuted, arrested, and no charges were pressed. And that's why I'm saying it's an alleged situation, and that's why I'm not saying the people's names. That being said, it is in my values to believe victims of sexual assault, because I know that historically they are not taken seriously. And I've also watched the live of the victim recounting the events, and the distress I saw on his face felt genuine to me. He could be an extremely good actor, but I don't think this was acting. So, once upon a time there was a ship who was getting pretty popular. They did a lot of fan service in fan meets and such, seemed really comfortable with each other, and fans were starting to genuinely believe that they were together because they did spend a lot of time together outside of work. But then the alleged victim came out with a live where he detailed the emotional abuse he endured at the hands of his co-star, who seemingly seemed to confuse their fictional fan-servicey relationship with reality. That co-star started getting jealous of the victim's friends. He trying to keep him from seeing them, constantly harassing him about his whereabouts. And then one day in a hotel room, he forced a kiss on him. The line had been so blurred between fan service and reality that he had truly started to believe that he could do anything to his co-star and he would accept it. And this is not me dismissing the fucked upness of the situation. To this day, it still makes my blood boil, especially since the alleged victim had to continue working with his alleged abuser after the whole thing went public and everyone was aware of the situation. And for me, even though it's a controversial case, I really think it needed to be discussed, because it really shows that the line between fan service and reality is incredibly blurry, and that companies truly profit off of that blurriness to exploit both the actors and the fans. To conclude, I could legit continue talking about this topic forever. There is so much that goes into it. And it's a topic that I do find fascinating because, again, it's something that every single one of us in the BL fandom partakes in. And I definitely didn't come into that topic with the idea that I was completely absolved from it. I am a shipper, though again I basically only ship Afghan, and even then I don't believe them to be together. But it does still mean that I am part of the problem, because I do enjoy fan service to a certain extent. That being said, while toxic fans are definitely responsible of their toxic behavior, at the end of the day, fan service and real life shipping are implemented by Thai companies that profit from them. As long as there is no change at the top, and I don't believe there will be for a while, these issues will still persist and might even get worse as BL becomes more and more mainstream. So yeah, a lot of food for thought. I hope you enjoyed this video despite its less than joyful topic. I'll see you next time and have a great day.